not all skincare products are worth the splurge. In fact, we have a wonderful selection of products that are affordable and work really well in drugstores. However, there are certain categories that I will personally splurge on as a dermatologist. So today, I want to share with you the 5 categories and products that I think is worth investing in. Hi, my name is Dr. Jenny Liu. I'm a board-certified dermatologist, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you enjoy learning more about skincare content, hair care content, product reviews, then I would love it if you can hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. So first of all, I just want to mention these are my own personal opinions, certainly based on the fact that I treat cosmetic patients based on the science, clinical studies of the ingredients and how they work. But at the end of the day, you have to do what makes sense for you because skincare is so personal. What makes sense for you, for your lifestyle, and for your wallet. Even when you ask, 10 dermatologists, you may get 10 different responses because it's personal. I think there's an overall general consensus on what may be worthwhile splurging on and saving on. But again, if it makes sense for you and you enjoy using higher end products, by all means, if you can afford it, continue. Along the same line, don't also feel like you need to absolutely splurge on these. These are just products that I personally will invest in because they have worked well for me and it's backed by published clinical studies. So it makes me feel better about, me investing a little bit more in these products. But at the end of the day, like I said, you certainly don't need to break a bank. Getting effective and good quality products are lots of them over the counter. And I will actually mention a few of them as well. They're certainly not cheap, less than $10, but certainly is not going to cost you an arm and a leg, where majority of the products that I will be sharing today are probably going to be $100 or more. And also remember, skincare is self-care. When it comes to product formulation, a lot of the higher end luxury products have a better user experience, if that makes sense. So, if anything, aside from the ingredients and the efficacy, if that really makes you excited and really helps you enjoy and feel relaxed and help you decompress after a long stressful day, I think that makes it all worthwhile. All right, enough said, let's get into the categories. Number 1 is vitamin C. So vitamin C is a potent antioxidant, helps to fight free radicals, environmental damage, additional damage from ultraviolet radiation, helps to brighten your complexion, supports collagen synthesis, and certainly I consider it a core product in my daily skincare routine. I use it every morning under sunscreen. Now, I have a lot of videos on vitamin C, even product recommendations, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but understand that vitamin C, the pure form that does all the work, is called L-ascorbic acid. And unfortunately, L-ascorbic acid is highly unstable. It actually oxidizes very easily on its own, which is often why you see it paired with other antioxidants like vitamin E. Now, because formulation is super tricky, it matters in the sense if it's not stable, or if it doesn't work well, it's not going to penetrate because the pH does affect the penetration. All of that will affect ultimately how well it's going to work on your skin. So if I'm going to invest in a serum that I know is going to work, I am certainly going to invest in one that has been studied the most. And the vitamin C serum that has the most clinical and published studies is the SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic. Now, you're probably thinking, well, there are a lot of vitamin C serums that have similar concentrations, if not the same, L-ascorbic acid, vitamin C, and vitamin E. The reason behind it is SkinCeuticals actually holds an exact patent on their CE Ferulic formulation. And so certainly the ingredient list is out there for grabs, right? But just because you have butter, sugar, eggs, and flour doesn't mean you can successfully make a cookie. You could easily turn that into a muffin, right? So this is where just because you have the ingredients, it doesn't mean ultimately the end product, how it's formulated, is going to be the same. And I don't believe in dupes. And this is true not just for vitamin C serums, but for any product. A dupe means to me that the products are very similarly formulated, but also are backed by similar amount of clinical studies or evidence to support their efficacy. And to date, there hasn't been a vitamin C serum with similar concentrations that is found in CE Ferulic that has been shown to that extent to work as well. So that is certainly one vitamin C serum that I will splurge on because it's been shown over and over again that it's not only stable, but it has been tweaked to enhance penetration and to affect the efficacy clinically. Now, SkinCeuticals isn't the only vitamin C that I personally will splurge on. There are two other ones that I think are really worth the money, and they both contain a liposoluble vitamin C called THD ascorbate that really has the next best level of evidence when it comes to stability and efficacy. I really love these serums for everyone, but especially with those who have rosacea or sensitive skin or can't tolerate the traditional L-ascorbic acid, is looking for a more hydrating, nourishing, creamier vitamin C antioxidant serum that is not pure watery liquid formulation, that is not going to as readily sting or burn on the skin. THD ascorbate itself off the bat, like as a raw material, is more expensive. I think it's probably the most expensive vitamin C derivative, even compared to L-ascorbic acid. L-ascorbic acid, I think, is actually pretty cheap. It's hard to formulate. But anyway, THD ascorbate itself is expensive, which is why often in general, serums, antioxidant serums with THD ascorbate, if it has a good effective concentration, tends to run on the higher end price-wise. But the two that I recommend, number one is from SkinBetter, Alto Advanced Defense and Repair Serum that contains liposoluble THD ascorbate along with a blend of antioxidants. This is a nice creamy serum and really well liked by my rosacea friends and patients alike. And it has great clinical studies, and this line, SkinBetter in general, is one that is highly recommended by many dermatologists and plastic surgeons alike because for the science and for the formulation. So this is highly recommended if you're looking for a liposoluble vitamin C serum that is very gentle yet effective. Another one is from Revision C Plus Correcting Complex that contains 30% liposoluble vitamin C. And that one is great. It has a unique formulation that not only offers great antioxidant support, but also has been shown to help with hyperpigmentation. So another great one that's been clinically studied and better for those that have maybe sensitive skin or looking for an antioxidant serum that also offer skin brightening and helping with hyperpigmentation. So the next category is peptides, and this is a really big category, especially within skincare. Now, peptides are essentially made out of amino acids, which are, I consider them the building blocks of life. Amino acids chain together make peptides, peptides chain together make proteins. And as you guys know, majority of what makes up our skin, hair, and nails are protein. So it's certainly essential. But within skincare, there are 4 large categories of peptides, including signaling peptides, neurotransmitting peptides, carrier peptides, and enzyme inhibiting peptides that all have various different functions. So what that translates to in skincare, it means that you can have a peptide that purely acts like hyaluronic acid that helps to hydrate and plump the skin, to soothing peptides like a lot of the products in La Roche-Posay's Toleriane line that has neurosensing, a peptide that has anti-inflammatory, calming, and soothing properties, to ones that offer brightening benefits like rice peptides that help to inhibit tyrosinase, to peptides that kind of get into your skin to signal your body to create more collagen or support elastin, so more of that anti-aging benefits. What I'm willing to splurge on is really the latter, peptide serums or treatments that really help to support fine lines, wrinkles, and support collagen synthesis. The reasons being is that we actually are still needing more research when it comes to peptides and how well they work. So when it comes to anti-aging, especially for individuals that really want to maximize their anti-aging routine, want something that can work well with retinoids, or for those who can't use retinoids and want to look for an effective anti-aging alternative, then you really want to go with ingredients or just products that have been clinically studied. And so these are unfortunately going to be on the higher end. At the very least, if you are buying a drugstore less than $10 peptide serum, you're probably going to get hydration benefits. And peptides themselves have been shown to help plump the skin, draw water to the skin, and indirectly temporarily will improve the fine lines and wrinkles because your skin is going to look more hydrated. But they may not necessarily be able to do the things that we want it to do, which is go in, help to signal our body to create more collagen, hyaluronic acid, and really permanently make those changes in our skin, right? And so this is where, unfortunately, the products that are a little more expensive are going to often be better studied clinically to really show and demonstrate the efficacy. So one of the better researched peptides goes by the name palmitoyl pentapeptide 4, also known as Matrixyl 3000. That is the trademark name. And this is made jointly by a French pharmaceutical company and then Procter & Gamble. This is why you see a lot of the palmitoyl pentapeptide 4 products in Olay, because Olay is owned by Procter & Gamble. So this is one instance where if you're looking for a fairly affordable product that works well, that is one line that I recommend that contains good and well-researched ingredient. Now, any brand that contains peptides with the Matrixyl, either trademark or that palmitoyl pentapeptide 4, has basically the ingredient that has been fairly well studied. So chances are it's going to be more effective than a random hodgepodge of different, peptides in the ingredient mix. So Matrixyl is a signaling peptide. Essentially, it's made of a sequence of 5 amino acids. That is the exact sequence found on a component of collagen 1. And collagen 1 is the predominant collagen in our skin. And the idea behind signaling peptides is that they're small enough to get into the skin, but kind of is thereby signaling your skin once it gets in, like, oh, I've already kind of have the work started, so why don't we just continue? And so here it's signaling your skin to make more collagen. And so certainly this is where Matrixyl has been better studied compared to other peptides that have been touted the same. So if you are looking for anti-aging peptide treatments, this would be one ingredient that I would look for. Because peptides don't have as many studies as, like, say, retinoids, aside from knowing the active ingredients and using active ingredients that have been researched, is also really good to have clinical evidence backing the efficacy, right? So this is where having the money and infrastructure to conduct the studies is really important. And unfortunately, this is where bigger companies like Procter & Gamble or, say, Johnson & Johnson and Olay are able to do compared to smaller companies. But also being able to conduct these studies, especially if they're published, requires money, and that certainly may add to the charge of, the cost of the product. But if it has good ingredients and it's been clinically shown, this is where I personally invest in that particular product. So when it comes to peptides, the brand or the line that really sparked my interest and was the first line that I ever used when it comes to peptides is from Alastin. This is their regenerating skin nectar that doesn't contain water. It has a balmy texture. Great to use after procedure. A lot of physicians will actually apply this on their patient after procedure. It also comes in a different cream treatment that's called the restorative complex. But anywho, this is like the very first peptide treatment that I ever used, and I feel like after this, it really sparked my interest in incorporating peptides into my skincare routine, which I have for the past 7 to 8 years. Alastin contains a blend of trademark called TriHex technology, so containing tripeptides and hexapeptides, and has been shown in clinical studies and as well as on skin biopsies to really basically go in and kind of clean out the garbage. So the kind of the damaged collagen and elastin that's just sitting there, taking up space, preventing new collagen and elastin from forming. So going in, cleaning out the junk, and then stimulating new ones to form. And the peptides here is actually a series of 3 and 6 peptides that are found on collagen 1. And actually the tripeptide is actually a segment of the Matrixyl peptide itself. And so I love this one because not only for the ingredients, but also for the clinical studies that has demonstrated efficacy. Aside from the serums, so the nectar and the restorative complex, their eye cream and neck cream are also 2 of my personal favorites. And actually, I've had great clinical response from patients using them as well. So those are 2 other ones that I think are worth investing in. Another brand, if you're looking for something a little different that has clinically studied peptide, is from Neova. Neova is another brand that is very similar to Alastin, where it's more professional, often purchased from physician offices, not so much available like in drugstores or on Sephora. But they are really well known for copper-based peptide. So copper itself is not a peptide, but what copper can do is, first and foremost, it has been shown that copper has wound healing properties, it has anti-inflammatory properties. But copper is also what we call a carrier peptide. So whatever it's attached to, copper can enhance the transport or the absorption of that ingredient. And so often here, copper is paired with a peptide to do whatever it needs to do. And Neova's copper peptide line has been shown in clinical studies to help with anti-aging concerns. This is another line, if you're interested, that doesn't contain matrixyl peptide. I really love from their line their moisturizer, but also the Power Defense Antioxidant Serum that contains copper that is attached to a tetrapeptide. And like I said, good clinical studies to really help with sun damage, improving signs of sun damage, uneven skin texture and skin tone. The one thing that you want to keep in mind is that if you do use vitamin C, you want to separate out the use of pure L-ascorbic acid with copper-based peptides, because copper may bind to the L-ascorbic acid and causes oxidation. So this is where you may want to just use your copper peptide morning and night, skip your vitamin C or separate them out, vitamin C in the morning and then your copper peptide treatment at night. And lastly, for something that's a little more affordable, for like $50, a little more than $50, is from Paula's Choice, their peptide booster that contains a concoction of different peptide blends, including palmitoyl pentapeptide 4, so matrixyl, along with other peptides that may offer some hydrating and plumping benefits, but certainly not as expensive as Neova and Alastin, but still has good ingredients. And overall, Paula's Choice, I do like their products. It's very elegant. That serum is hydrating, lightweight, and layers nicely with your retinoids. Next category are retinols. Now, before I dive into the products and why, I just want to mention there are great retinols at every price point. In fact, some of the ones that I recommend that I use myself are really over the counter, right? Olay, Neutrogena, La Roche-Posay, Rock. The reasons why I put this in here is that for those with a sensitive skin, with rosacea prone skin, who may be afraid of using retinols because of the irritation, or have truly tried ones from over the counter and just find them to not be effective and or irritating, this is where splurging on something a little more expensive may be helpful. And especially if you have sensitive skin, the formulation may reduce irritation because of the other ingredients in there, because of how they're formulated, or even how they are packaged to reduce the need of additional preservatives that may add irritation. So these are all things that are really taken into consideration when I added retinols in this category. And also too, retinols, especially retinaldehydes, can be tricky to formulate, is what I understand from my cosmetic chemist friends. So this is where, regardless of what you use, just make sure you go with reputable brands, period. But if you are looking for gentle retinols that work well, that are not irritating, these are a few that I recommend. First product is from SkinBetter. Again, it's the Alpha Red Overnight Cream. So in general, I really like SkinBetter, to be honest, for those with rosacea and sensitive skin. But anyways, this product contains a unique retinoid. It's called, as the name implies, Alpha Red. So essentially, it is an alpha hydroxy acid, alpha, chemically connected to retinol, RET. So the alpha hydroxy acid here is lactic acid. So you have lactic acid chemically connected to retinol. It's stable and it's able to penetrate the skin effectively. When it's penetrated into the skin, your skin actually is able to cleave that connection. So you have two separate ingredients that work well synergistically to not only help tackle fine lines and wrinkles, but the lactic acid here actually acts as a humectant to hydrate the skin. And that is what has been shown clinically in their studies, that not only is the skin not irritated, people tolerate it really well, individuals tolerate it really well, the skin hydration is actually improved compared to like tretinoin. So this is really, really cool science. Aside from lactic acid, and retinol also contains really nourishing ingredients like squalane ceramides, niacinamide, and hyaluronic acid. So this is a really nice creamy serum. Again, a great choice for those who are beginners, who are looking for a good retinol to use that's been demonstrated clinically, or those with sensitive skin and really want to find one that's not irritating, I highly recommend trying this one. And last two products I want to mention within this retinol category are retinaldehyde products, because retinaldehyde tends to be more challenging to formulate. And so the first one I really like is from Avène, and it's the Retinol line. It comes in 2 different concentrations of retinaldehyde. And Avène in general is a line that formulate products with sensitive and eczema prone skin in mind. So they tend to be a little more conscious of just the ingredients that they use to better help soothe and reduce irritation. In fact, all of their products are formulated in a sterile fashion to minimize the use of preservatives, but still enhances and keeps the ingredients stable. So that's one I really appreciate from Avène. But this is a really nice, nourishing, creamy retinaldehyde serum that is really great for all skin types, especially for those with sensitive skin. The other brand I really like called Medik8. Medik8 is a UK brand that is really well known for their retinols, retinaldehydes, and they even have this new retinol conjugate. I believe it's called like retinol retinoate, but it's a conjugate of retinol that basically enhances the stability and has been shown in few clinical studies to be efficacious. We just don't have as many compared to like retinols, but anywho, Medik8's retinol products are really nice. They're creamy, they're rich, they have various different concentrations. And so that is certainly another one brand I love. It also contains like vitamin E that helps to stabilize the retinol, and then hyaluronic acid. So if you are looking for good, effective retinaldehyde products that aren't irritating, those are 2 brands I really recommend. The fourth category is exfoliants. So here, I'm more talking about really just the type. Not so much you have to spend a ton of money, because literally you can probably get like a physical scrub, a loofah, for like $2 from drugstores, right? I'm mostly speaking to the fact that if you really want to get the most out of those exfoliants, go with chemical leave-on treatments, which in general tends to be pricier than a scrub, even if it's not like a physical loofah, but like one that's made in a cleanser or a physical scrub. Those tend to be more abrasive on the skin and really doesn't offer any long-term benefits. When it comes to exfoliation, we do it for a couple reasons. Number 1, to help remove dead skin buildup, and then 2, to help improve complexion, improve the dullness, add radiance, and then over time can certainly help with the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and uneven skin tone. But that benefit comes with long-term use and long-term use of a leave-on product, not like a physical scrub that you apply on your skin a few times a week. And so this is where just going with a leave-on treatment that tends to be maybe in a serum or a moisturizer, you're gonna get more out of it than using a physical scrub. And so this is where I personally would invest in a nice leave-on treatment versus going in and from the drugstore and buying like a, like a $2 to $5 cleansing with scrub beads that it really is not going to help me achieve my goals. I have shared plenty of chemical exfoliants in my previous video, and certainly feel free to check those out if you're looking for particular recommendations, because again, I find that when it comes to chemical exfoliants, it is very personal. In general, glycolic acid has the best evidence, period, when it comes to brightening, improving dullness, helping with fine lines or wrinkles. Lactic acid can be a great substitute, especially those with sensitive skin. And if you have super duper sensitive skin, consider polyhydroxy acids. The fifth category is sunscreen. The reason I put that in here is because when it comes to skincare, nothing beats sun protection. Really, everything else doesn't really matter if you're not photoprotecting your skin. And the biggest reasons for not wearing sunscreen, we often hear is it's not elegant enough, it's too greasy, it's too shiny, it's too heavy, the color is off, or it leaves a white cast. So here, you may find it worthwhile splurging a little bit more on an elegant sunscreen. And a lot of the sunscreens that are more elegantly formulated with maybe more shades available are going to be on the higher price point. Not that you have to spend like $100, but they may be more than say like $10 or $15. You certainly don't need to splurge. It really depends on your preference and your skin type and your skin tone, right? There are great sunscreens at various different price points, but my whole message here is that if you find one and it's a little more expensive, I encourage you to spend your money on that than say trying to find a fancier retinol or peptide. Because if you're not going to wear sunscreen consistently, nothing else matters, right? So finding the sunscreen that works well on your skin, that you like, that you will want to wear on a daily basis is the most important thing. Now, I'm not going to share too much really. I'm not really going to share any products, in fact, because it's so personal, and I already have so many videos on sunscreen reviews. So definitely check those out. But basically, just want you guys to understand that sunscreen is personal. Just gotta find one that works well for you. And if you find one that's a little more expensive, then it's worth the splurge. All right, guys, so those are products I personally would invest in. Did any of yours make it on this list? Also, let me know in the comments below what particular products you like to splurge on. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.